It started with a sentence, not spoken, not typed, just thought. Dennis DeGray was paralyzed from the neck down after a freak accident in 2007. He couldn't move a finger. He couldn't feed himself. But in 2017, he made headlines by doing something that once belonged to science fiction. He sent a message using nothing but his brain. And in doing so, he became one of the first humans to control a computer with thought alone. This kind of interface didn't come out of nowhere. In the 1950s, scientists like Norbert Werner laid the groundwork for the theory of cybernetics, the study of control systems in humans and machines. By the 1970s, a UCLA researcher named Jacques Vidal introduced the phrase brain-computer interface. His work and the military funding that followed laid the technical and conceptual foundation for what would come decades later. The United States Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, quietly backed early experiments linking animal brains to mechanical outputs. And the goal was simple: restore function where the body failed. DeGray became the proof. His tool was called the Utah Array, a grid of hair-thin electrodes, each about 1.5 millimeters long and just 80 microns wide. That's roughly the width of a human hair. These electrodes were implanted in the area of the brain responsible for motor control. Not metaphorically, literally. Each spike picked up the electrical whispers of single neurons, the raw signals of movement. His intent to move a hand, though the hand itself could not respond, it was captured, interpreted, and translated into action on a screen. At his best, DeGray could type up to 90 characters per minute. No keyboard. Just imagined keystrokes. He could play basic video games, send emails, even ask his digital assistant for the weather. All of it from the neck down, he was frozen. But inside his skull, he was fully present and connected. And that was nearly a decade ago. Today, the field is accelerating. A company called Synchron built on that legacy. Their technology, called the Stentrode, works without opening the skull at all. It's delivered through a catheter threaded up the jugular vein until it reaches the brain's motor cortex. There is no drilling, no direct brain contact. The device settles into blood vessels and listens from within. One of their first patients was a man named Philip. He had amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, and he lost the ability to speak. His voice was gone. His fingers could not type. He was trapped behind silence. After the implant, he could once again send emails, use his tablet, turn on lights, open apps, scroll his screen. His first message wasn't poetic. It was practical. I want to order a meal. No grand gesture. Just life, reclaimed one thought at a time. Non-invasive technology is evolving as well. Headsets from companies like Neurable, Emotive, and NextMind let users wear electrocephalographic headsets, EEG devices. These rest on the scalp and detect brain waves from outside the skull. They're not as precise as the Utah Array or Stentrode, but they don't require surgery. They can measure attention, focus, and stress levels. Some can detect binary choices, left or right, based on intention alone. And while they're limited now, they're getting better every day. And then there's Neuralink. Their device, a wireless coin-sized implant with over 1,000 electrode channels. It can be inserted by a surgical robot in under an hour. As of this year, their first human patients are controlling cursors and navigating digital interfaces using nothing but their thoughts. And unlike older systems, Neuralink's device sits entirely inside the body. There is no visible wires, no bulky connections. But the deep shift here isn't technical, it's cultural. For decades, using a computer meant input, a mouse, a keyboard, a touch screen. Now the input is the mind, the thought itself. And that changes everything. It also raises important questions. Who owns the data a brain chip collects? What happens if that data is intercepted, misused, or sold? Can a system misinterpret a thought, or worse, shape a thought? Could a bidirectional interface feed ideas into the brain and not just read them out? These questions are no longer theoretical because the technology isn't in a lab. It's in people, in their homes, in their lives. By 2035, brain interface technology, it may be common in rehabilitation clinics, home care systems, and even workplace tools. But unlike consumer gadgets, these systems will likely be governed by medical law. The United States Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, has already classified invasive neural devices as Class 3 medical tools, the highest risk category. Future developments may fall under Department of Veteran Affairs rehabilitation programs or the National Institutes of Health, NIH, privacy protocols for biometric data. Federal safeguards are expected to mandate encryption, consent flags, and patient rights over neural data. The implants may shrink. The software may improve. But in the United States, at least the guiding principle will be this: no thought can be used without permission. Yet for Dennis DeGray, none of that was the point. He didn't want headlines, and he was not chasing glory. He said the thing that he missed most wasn't walking. It wasn't feeding himself. It was writing. The act of putting his thoughts into words. And with a chip in his brain and a screen in front of him, he got that back. These are Interesting Things with JC.